Okay, so I did check the settings, and then I have my blue chalk handy. The reason I'm going to do that is I always want to keep the bottoms the bottom, the top, because there could be a slight difference in settings. Now this one I might do a staggered effect on, but I'm going to deal with that in a little bit. So for right now, it's just a matter of making the head on each, or the tongue on each one. The formula or equation comes into play here. Look, it doesn't fit, and I want to do this safely. So what it tells me is my materials, my tools, and joinery don't match right now. My tool does not have the capacity to handle the material that I'm using. So a real simple fix to that is I'm just going to figure out what the maximum it can handle in there, which can be done with a ruler. So it looks like I'm going to cap out at like 6.5. So I'll cut them down to six. I'll cut them down to 6 on the table saw and live with it. I'm always trying to keep my eye out for this. I don't want to lose that by cutting that off. So I am going to spin it, and then that way I'll save that knot. Same here. This is that little thing I was trying to save earlier, right? Plus this is where all the spalting is. And then there's a knot right there. That's the stuff I want to save. And there's nothing going on this end. So by putting this part that I want to save up against the fence, then I'll just be getting rid of, just some plain old, right? Okay, so where were we when we were so rudely interrupted by the equation m plus t plus j equals p? Now it fits. And this is the whole idea of that equation, is you really have to watch all this stuff, you know? It's amazing. That's what makes it fun, I think. All right, they're all marked blue on the back. All right. So a number of times I've mentioned how critical it is on the settings of these. And this is a real to make the point. Now, I knew ahead of time that this only had a 1/4 inch groove in it because that was an earlier version. But I used a 3/8 inch to set the tongue. And so what's happening is the tongue is hitting the bottom of the groove, and therefore you end up with that, okay? So it was intentional. What I'm gonna do is just put these two, since they're already done, already cut and everything else, I'm gonna put those in the shaper and make them 3/8. Now you wouldn't, this is a little bit sloppier way to do it, you know, where you have one dado and then make another one. But I want to get that depth, but I want to get the height right. So just by taking that existing piece, I'll end up in the same dado. So I just raise the blade. I'm not going to change the depth at all. Now we should be good to go. Okay, so I have my two flanges with a 3/8 inch by 3/4 dado. Okay, time to do a dry fit. And then keeping in mind the blue is always going to be, I'm going to put it on the back. So for instance, if this was a bed rail, then I'd want this on the back towards the mattress because I want this 3-dimensional stuff to be in front. And then I'm going to pick and choose as to where those go. This is just a dry fit. I did this on the fly, so there was no dimensions in mind. Now, what's going to happen is obviously this board is going to be way too wide, right? And that's just the length is the length as far as it's going to go. So what I'm going to do is just take this one and cut it just enough that it'll fit in here, and that'll get us close enough for what we're going to do. It's kind of a plain board anyhow. Changed my mind a little bit because of all the texture, the depth on these. I'm going to keep those in the center for sure, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to balance these two out because they're kind of plain. But that would also come in handy because these are the ones that if I'm going to be putting a tenon on the end, a threaded tenon, the metal one, I want to put it on really, really good solid ground, not on something that like this or, you know, like this, right? So that's what I'm going to do on that. Almost blew it. I don't want to lose that, right? And that's what I would have happened. So I got to go back to and recheck that. Much better. I'm going to be able to save that cool color there. So then don't know if you caught this, but the blue is on the back. Now it's on the back here, it's just that it's facing down. I decided to put this one up, right? But blues are all in the back. Again, that's going to be the side, if this were for a bed, then that would be the side that the mattress is on. In fact, if I was going to do that, I would probably make the bottom flange a lot wider. The bottom one might come out another 2-3 inches to hold the mattress itself, the box spring, or the boards. But we're just using up materials right now. Okay, so it looks like the dry fit's going to work just fine. And the rest, next time I do anything, it's going to be basically on the, it's going to be a glue up So I'm ready to take it in for a glue up now. And then I would always put a round over on these kinds of edges here, especially like on a bed or something. But the nice thing about this is that we'll be able to do that later. So I think the next thing to be would be the glue up.